and ready to go here with the Spin Rhythm XD showcase. Let's not waste any more time. Let's get right on into it. Rewarder Drawer and friends, come on, let's showcase some spin.
Hey guys, this is Rewarder Drawer, and I'm Rewarder Drawer. They are Dama, it is Chroma, and this is Spin Rhythm XD. And as you can see, I am just a little bit of a Spin Rhythm enthusiast.
Just a little bit.
Is that what you got sent?
That's what I got sent. This is the
PAX
PAX East banner, the last live event that they did.
Nice.
And they were, RSG was trying to get rid of it, so I grabbed it. We can't linger on that for too long. I'll talk about it when I can. So before we get started, I just want to go over a couple of the options stuff. First and foremost, there were some community winners in the Wheels Give It a Spin contest. So I'm going to be showcasing the Kronos wheel skin, which was made by Edge, and the circuit board track texture, which was made by Banana Boy Jeff. And then we also had a... I preset this based on the leader, but I want to make sure the track texture or the colors, the winner for that was the non-binary Pride colors.
Yes, that's correct. Non-binary Pride won at $295.46, just above trans rights color at $250.05.
Wow. Okay. Well, it just so happens to be this is my favorite color scheme. Because it is complementary colors, so this is the most colorblind friendly option.
I also
and
run
that's
with purple and yellow wheel. Just
let's go. I sometimes will use blue and orange because I use the default blue color, but I love this color scheme as well. Just a couple more notes. I'm going to be playing with no fail mode on. If you see my health bar disappear, then I have failed the track. My intention is not to fail any tracks during this showcase, but because I'd rather not show you guys the failed screen, I'd like you guys to hear all of the songs that we're playing. We're going to be playing with no fail on. And I also have clear notes after misses on. That'll maybe come up a little later. You guys will see that. And then just really quickly, because we are a bunch of funky dealers here, we're going to be playing with the funky menu background music.
Yeah.
So, an important thing about all of these artists is every single artist that we are showcasing today is a queer artist. This is a Pride-themed showcase. We are running fast-paced for Pride, and I wanted to make sure that we're showcasing queer music and queer art in this community. So every artist here, or every song here, has at least one queer artist in it. Time will start when I press play on the first track, and it will end when I hit the results screen on Death Perception. Are you ready?
Are you ready?
Oh, one more thing. I'm sorry. As this is a turntable showcase, I think it's important that you guys can see my turntable. I'll be playing with the Hercules Impulse 200. This is the preferred turntable of the Spin Rhythm community. Oh, and one more thing. I'm giving away 3 game keys for this game. So if you donate at least $10 during this run, you are entering to win those keys.
Yep.
So get your donations in.
Let me go ahead and clarify that, make sure everyone is understanding. When you do donate, the keys are available now on the Tiltify, but make sure you have to accept that offer. You have to make sure that you go in and click and say that you want the keys when you make your $10 donation. It's the first 3 people to donate the $10 and redeem the award will get it when they donate.
Yes, not a raffle. First come, first serve.
Wow.
All right, are we ready?
Get your donos in. I'm ready. Are you ready?
All right, I'm pushing play in 3, 2, 1, go!
Do you want to talk about how you chose the order of these charts, or do you want us to go over that, Rad?
Sure, I will talk about that because I'm going to have some time during the intro. So I decided that this was going to be a showcase of the history of customs in Spin Rhythm XD, as well as a showcase of Pride artists. So these are mostly in chronological order, and they feature some of the best Pride-themed artists that were charted in the years 2020 through 2023.
So notably, there are some differences in early customs because there are some note types that didn't exist prior to a certain update. So sometimes in this game, you're required to hold down a key, or in this case, the left jog wheel, to hold a beat hold. And it used to be that every beat hold had a timed release. And then later on, they added in the ability to have like a soft end, like a fade out end, but it wasn't a timed thing. So a couple of these early charts, you're going to see a lot of those timed releases. They look like an arrow at the very end of this wide, white, glowy thing along the sides. And those are only used a little bit more sparingly these days. So it's one of the things that kind of makes these charts a little unique for their time. This one is charted by High Caliber Tree, who at the time had a kind of unusual playstyle, playing on turntable and keyboard. So that was, and I think a lot of people in 2020 were playing with some very, very different experimental playstyles because this game
Just
is
like
super.
a DJ Hero turntable at the time.
Yeah.
I wonder who used the DJ turntable. The DJ Hero turntable.
Yep, I was the world's best and only DJ Hero player.
But yeah, so there are a lot of different control schemes that you can use for this game. Obviously, you can use a real turntable, as Rad is doing right now. You can use your keyboard and mouse, with the mouse controlling the wheel movement and the keyboard controlling the beat movement. You can use controllers, gamepads of all different types. You could use just your keyboard if you really wanted to. There are so many little differences in playstyles in this game, and part of the fun is experimenting and seeing what works for you or what doesn't work for you, and playing through all these different types of customs and things with different control schemes.
Yeah, and you've got, even now, we still have some players who are some of the only players playing with their respective playstyles. Like having beat and tap. So the little rectangle notes are tap notes, and the bars that go all the way across the screen are beats. And normally one is on keyboard and one's on mouse if you're playing with keyboard or mouse. But some people play with both of those on mouse or both of those on keyboard. Some people even play with keyboard doing the movement, which can result in some pretty wacky ways of playing some things that are pretty fun to watch.
So this song... Huh?
Go for it.
Sorry, I was going to just really quickly say that this song was part of a 4-part EP, which is known as Mirai Sakai, all of which High Caliber Tree charted. The full long play of this is playable as an extended mix chart and is one of, if not the first, playable extended mix charts on SpinShare.
And
which
Tree
is
has done a bunch, yeah. A bunch
that is, SpinShare is the custom website that is used for custom stuff, basically.
Are you ready?
Yeah, spinsha.re.
Spinsha.re.
So, just a quick note, I got an S rank on that song. Unfortunately, I got a -2. I did not full combo. We'll be donating $1 for every S, $3 for every A, and $5 for every B that I get during the showcase. I'm going to try to get under $40. But relish in my failure because it means more money will be donated to charity.
So you're saying we should try to distract you as much as possible for the benefit of trans people everywhere.
Yes.
Well, and if I can say, every little bit does help because we are trying to push towards that $4,000 goal here, and I personally would love to be able to see it during my shift here at Fast Pace for Pride. So we are at $3,795.91 out of that $4,000. So we're not too far away from hitting it. I don't know if we can maybe do it here during Spin Rhythm, but I would love to see if we can do it here within the next couple of hours.
Would you say that we are on pace?
We are on pace to set that fast-paced number.
For Pride.
Yes. This chart was done by Darnock, who has, as far as I understand, had an impact on a number of different rhythm and music game communities by coming in like super early on in there whenever the games come out, making a huge impact and then moving on. I think.
Classic.
Darnock played on turntable, and so this was also like really early on in the charting days. Like the editor, I think, only became available in like April 2020.
Yes, April Fool's Day.
And this was pretty close to that time, I think. And even now, even though Darnock hasn't done any charting in Spin Rhythm for probably close to 3 years now, 2.5 years, there are still patterns given his name. So
Darnock retired a champion.
This is also a tournament edit. So sometimes what people would do, or still do, is make like a chart that's a little bit more experimental or has some patterns that are kind of questionably fair for certain play styles, but then make an edit of it to fit tournament standards. And the tournament scene is still very lively and active and getting more so. Twice a year, there's something called the, oh my god, let me see if I remember what the acronym is. Super Spin Share Seasonal Spin Share Open.
Spin Share Spin Open.
Spin Share Spin Open.
Spin Share Spin Open. SSSO.
You can't really blame me. There's like a bunch of different S words that all could fit that.
Super Spin Digital
So,
Open.
by the way, those 6 consecutive spins in the same direction also have a name, and they're based off of charter. Those are Neppy spins.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not specifically 6 of them, but just like a lot of spins, short-ish spins in the same direction. Was first popularized by a charter named Neppy. Who has Neppy also did the Me Water Bottle chart, I think.
Oh?
You don't know about the Me Water Bottle chart? RSJ, who was the community manager at the time, was out walking his dog, dropped his water bottle, and he was streaming this. And so this Me Water Bottle audio was charted as a joke, and then Neppy also made it full difficulty so that it could qualify for the front page spotlight on Spin Share.
Oh my gosh. That's fantastic.
Yeah, so somehow we got to that from Darnock.
Well, we have a little bit of downtime here. Do we have some time for some announcements?
Yes.
All right. So the first thing I do want to say is we have made a big milestone already here. Our first event here at Fast Paced Events was Fast Paced for Headspace 2021. It raised $3,791, and we have exceeded that amount here for Fast Paced for Pride 2023.
Let's go!
And we have done that off of the back of so many donations here, especially coming through for the Spin Rhythm community and the Spin Rhythm showcase. $20 from the Way123, who said, "Hey Rad, glad to see you do a showcase of your own for this game. Truly one of my favorites. Don't forget to do a group spin at the end."
Oh, we're absolutely doing a group spin. And for good measure.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely doing a group spin.
We also
and what are we doing for good measure afterwards, Dama?
Of course.
Rhythm Spithem!
Yes.
So Rhythm Spithem has has become a thing to say, and it was originally said by my daughter when she was very young. She couldn't remember what the name was called of the game, so she was like, "What's that game? Rhythm Spit'em?" It was just perfect.
Also, Rad, was that another S rank?
Yes,
I
it
believe
was.
so.
This is not going to be an S rank, though.
Excellent.
This is one of the hardest tracks in the showcase.
Oh yes, I do want
Yeah.
to talk a
So-
little bit about this track and what it's related to.
Oh yeah.
So,
for sure.
this is a song from Celeste, which is also a very popular game in speedrunning communities. And a bunch of Celeste community members came over to Spin Rhythm because there is a Celeste remix in the base game setlist for Spin Rhythm. So when Spin Rhythm first came out, it attracted the attention of a number of Celeste players who are still active in the Spin Rhythm community today.
True,
so
them tweeted this.
This one in particular was charted by PigPig and Programmatic. Programmatic, I think, is kind of Celeste famous because he put together a bunch of any percent speedrun tutorials. And I still see people, whenever there's like a Celeste speedrunner who sees Prog like in my Twitch chat or somewhere else, they're always like, "Is this the Programmatic?" So Prog had a pretty big impact on Celeste speedrunning and also on Spin Rhythm charting. So it's pretty perfect that Rad is showcasing one of Prog's charts here. Prog was responsible for sort of setting a lot of standardization for different patterns and helping other people meet those standards as well by writing tools like software for people to run on their chart files to see if they violated any specific
that's cool.
like if they broke certain standards. It's not really used anymore, but at the time it was so helpful to have a tool that you could just like check, do I have any backspins? Do I have any movement into tab? Do I have any color swaps that don't line up properly? And it was just a tool that you could run and it would tell you if there were any of these mistakes in your charts, and it was so helpful.
It's very cool indeed.
Oh, hi, Prog. Prog's in chat. The Programmatic plays this game. Yes, exactly.
Wow.
Anyway, this song in particular is part of a level in Celeste where you are literally confronting yourself and sort of triumphing in the face of in the face of adversity. And coming to terms with parts of yourself that may have been hard to accept before. So it's a very nice song to showcase during a Pride event, I think.
Very fitting, indeed.
And we're still kind of in an older era of charting. This is, again, still before beat holds that did not have timed releases were a thing.
Yeah.
So every beat hold is a timed release.
That is probably a B, maybe even a C. I'll donate $10 for a C. That was really rough.
Oof.
Okay, never
Well,
mind. It's B+.
we'll see.
It's a B.
Lied.
Yeah, no, that chart's tough, especially on turntable.
I'm also learning that it's a lot harder for me to see with these skins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is another
Especially ones
chart.
that have little circles that look like mash notes.
This is another chart from PigPig. And, you know, someone else might have been involved too.
Damma.
This
I don't know
is
who
one of
Damma
my
is.
charts. This is also one of my charts. And it's
Damma chart.
yes. It's like 2 years old at this point, so there's definitely some things I look at and cringe about, but I know that this is like a history of Spin Rhythm charting showcase, so I'll just grin and bear it.
You'll deal with it.
This is from Katori and Stessi. And Stessi is an artist that hadn't gotten very much attention in the Spin Rhythm community until my wife actually wanted to start charting for the first time. Got about 5 notes into charting Ceci's song Atmosphere, decided it was impossible, and then I picked up from there. So, and then at that point, a few other charters kind of were like, oh, actually, a lot of these are bangers. And a number of Ceci songs since then have been charted. And this one is a collab with Katori.
Do we have some time for some more donations here?
Yep, I have a few other things to say about this, but you can go ahead.
No, go for it. Go for it.
Just this is one of the first ones that you can see these beat holds don't have a time to release. So this chart came from after that was introduced, and that has since become like the default. Like, it's pretty rare. Well, not rare. It's like people deliberately choose to use hard releases rather than it just being the default.
You'll more often see soft beat holds than you will see hard releases.
Yeah, if a hard release is there, it's because they chose to put it there, not because they needed to put a beat hold in. And
not because they're forced to. Yeah.
Yeah. And also, I at the time I didn't really realize this, but Rad had in their notes that collabs between charters were becoming more common at the time here, like around this era. I didn't know it was a rarity. I just liked making stuff with people I liked. So it was pretty common for me to do collabs. I've still done tons and tons and tons of collabs since then. It's become more and more common, I guess, for people to do collabs as people got to know each other, found people with compatible styles. It also lets you kind of stretch your own boundaries when you're charting with someone who maybe like tends to chart a bit more difficult than you or a bit more experimental. It kind of gives you the freedom to try out some things like that yourself. So I definitely did some things in this chart that I had not done before in any of my solo charts.
Almost an S rank. Almost an S rank.
Good try.
Good try.
Anyway,
Alright, this is going to be another hard one.
We like seeing that. We like seeing it.
I will say, so G4's charts were known for sort of being very difficult. And this is one of those. And part of what makes them very difficult is that there's like a lot of these like curve out sliders and very tight timings, as well as like a lot of like same lane color swaps and stuff like that. But some of this could just be cheese, and you're gonna see the cheese happen in just a moment.
Right, so there's some lenience with hitting sliders. You don't actually have to hold...
Oh, maybe you will.
You don't actually have to hold and be on top of the slider the entire time, because it gives you a little bit of a grace period. So when a slider is super, super short, the entire duration of the slider is within that grace period, so you can just hit the tap and it will still count you as getting the whole slider.
Also, we saw in the last chart, and I think we'll see it a little bit with this chart, but people will take a normal slider and they will add sort of like zigzags and bends and all that kind of stuff that you don't actually have to follow perfectly. If you move in the direction of the slider, they're set up in a way that you will still hit the slider. And so it adds sort of a visual interest to represent different sounds and things like that.
The people have had a lot of fun making various slider aesthetics.
Yeah, there are some very cool sliders in charts, for sure.
These are more cheesable sliders. You only have to move at the very end.
Yep.
If I had to move to perfectly match those sliders, they'd be very difficult.
Indeed.
Especially before the update, which allowed you to re-grab sliders.
Oh yes, that's fairly new. It used to be if you broke a slider, it was just broken. You cannot re-grab it. And now you can get back on it.
Shoutouts to Slider, by the way.
Yeah.
The chart most nerfed by that change.
by poor Gamardic. Who could that be? Now's a good time for some messages.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got plenty of messages coming in here. First, I do want to, again, make sure that everyone is aware we do have some polls and targets available for some upcoming runs here. We've got the poll for the Cheeky's Chase character bid war. Currently, Cheeky the Bird is winning at $50. Ronnie the Cat is right behind the bird, chasing after the tail at $45. Pickles the Frog is at $30, and Skips the Rabbit is at $25. So if you want to see one of those characters for the upcoming Cheeky's Chase run, please make sure that you choose that poll with your donation. We also do have another incentive, a target for our final run of the marathon, the Final Fantasy XIV online run. This will add the Praetorium dungeon to the run. We are very close to making it. We're at $392.58 out of the $500 target for that incentive. So make sure to select that target when you are making your donations. Much like DVD Food did with their $20 donation, they said Skips is fun. I would know, but they did put that towards Skips the Rabbit for that poll. We also had a $75 donation from Ricky, who just says, Speen.
Is that a Ricky Dono? Hey, Ricky.
Ricky Dono.
Classic Ricky Dono right
Thank you,
there.
Ricky.
We have
you.
a $10 donation here from Taka, who says Trans Pride.
Yeah,
And-
Taka.
And we also have a $100 donation from Chris V with no comment, but thank you so much, Chris,
Wow.
for that massive donation. We also have a $20 donation from Lava, who said, I'm very much of a gay speener.
We do
That was
have
a-
Colon
a pretty
three.
big portion of the community is from the alphabet.
From the Alphabet
Army or
Mafia, so to speak.
Yeah.
You could say.
The Alphabet Mafia.
Yeah. So with this next song, we're talking about how Lena Raine is in the base game. This artist is also in the base game. One of their songs, "Lovesick," is part of the main set list. While Lovesick was introduced to the base game as one of the developers' favorite songs, pretty much everybody who's charted Moshop in the custom community has other songs that they prefer, but
You look so
still
good
bangers.
for me.
Still bangers. I think it's from the same album as this. Because I think the album art looked familiar to me, but yeah, so this song and chart represents a sort of logical conclusion to 2021's charting evolution. At this point, Curvins had mostly replaced sine waves as the quote-unquote default slider. Soft beat holds replaced hard beat holds as the quote-unquote default beat hold. Wide lane assignment. Oh, we didn't really talk about lanes, did we?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's usually there's just like nomenclature in the charting community to make it easier to talk about patterns. Where
Yes.
the middle lane is 3, and 2 lanes to the left of that is 1, and 2 lanes to the right of that is 5, or vice versa. Usually it's like up to
It's whatever one you start with is 1.
isomorphism. Yeah, normally you would just like talk about a pattern using 1 as the first number, even if you're talking about something going from the right to left or left to right. It's just like assumed that you're talking about things being like them, that pattern or the mirror pattern is equivalent.
Yes.
Yes.
Reflections
I
are very
think-
common in this game.
I think in the actual like code, the middle lane is 0, and then it goes like negative on one side and positive on the other side. But
Yeah, but I don't want to do math when I'm talking about lane assignments.
yeah,
That's
so
too much.
usually we just talk about like 1, 3, 5 is just like 3 notes that go from the left to the right, or from the right
From
to
the
the
right to the
left. And then you less commonly see usage of lanes like 2 and 4, unless you've got like a pattern that is like making use of all the lanes going across. But in more recent times, it's become more common to venture wider towards the outside. So you may have a pattern that like starts at 0 and ends at 6, and that makes you have to move a little bit more, like a little bit more forcefully than you would otherwise have to move.
There are technically 8 lanes in the game, but the
9.
outer 2... There are 9!
Yeah, middle lane and then 4 to each side.
Yeah. Well,
How am I...
and there are definitely some charts that have made music
Technically, there are
actually...
64 lanes.
Yeah, there are
Okay,
some charts
well-
that have actually edited the chart files by hand to put notes in places where you can't put them in the editor. And you
Shouts to
get
Q for that.
some really very strange behavior in game. But it is one of the more fun kind of experimental charts to play, is where things are just coming at you from your peripheral vision and you're like, what is happening?
Oh! 0.25% off another S. That's an A.
Oh. It's close.
Good
That was a good lane, though.
All right, next we have,
Another Lena Rain.
Another Lena Rain.
as well as
This time-
that guy who did the voice acting for We Bare Bears.
The the voice actor for that doofy skeleton from We Bare Bears.
Yeah,
and
you
then
know.
in parentheses, among other things.
That guy, Toby Fox,
That guy.
is definitely most well known for voice acting the doofy skeleton. Certainly that is
the
Toby
biggest
Fox's
credit.
claim to fame.
I'm just surprised that Sans Undertale is the second most controversial skeleton figure at this point.
Video game music is a pretty common choice for charting because if we're playing Spin Rhythm, it's because we play games and therefore hear music from other games. And once you have gone down the rabbit hole of starting to chart songs, it's impossible to listen to a song without envisioning what it will be like as a chart. And
I have fallen into that trap recently. I started actually charting recently, like literally within the past couple of weeks.
Very cool.
Basically, and now all I think of when I hear music is, oh, it would be so cool to have this pattern go with that sound. Oh, that'd be awesome. And so my Spin Rhythm 2 chart list just grows and grows and grows.
yeah. And the thing about video game music is that you know that it's at least any modern day video game, it'll have been electronically produced, so you don't have to deal with any super awkward tempo changes or timings from live performances of things. So it can kind of be a very approachable starting place for stuff to chart. This is a collab between Edge and Luciano, both of whom are still very productive charters today.
A+.
Very true.
At this point, if you're in chat, what I'd like to do is I'd like you to tell me your favorite video game composer.
Ooh,
Oh.
yes.
Pause for a second. No, you don't have to pause the timer, but I'm going to play this one on keyboard and mouse because I just couldn't get it consistent in practice.
That's fair.
Yeah, this
can
chart
also
is
see
kinda rough.
You can also see the skill gap between my keyboard and mouse play and my turntable play, because I am much better at keyboard and mouse, actually.
An intense
Yeah.
dissatisfaction with the world.
This song is done by Akira Complex, who sadly passed away recently. And Rad, you
2
said
weeks
that
ago.
afterwards you wanted to have a moment of silence?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think this song itself has been charted numerous times by different people.
Like 7 or 8 different times, I think. Something
Let
like
me
that.
see.
Has been charted by 7 different charters, including 2 Divine Mercy extended mixes.
Yeah, 5 charts of this version specifically.
My guiding star.
That's another example of slider aesthetics you don't actually have to play. It's a
Yep.
pretty wide wiggle, but if you just stay in place, you just hit the entire thing. This as well.
And a compulsion to do something about it.
Yeah, Akira Complex in general has had a lot of their music
My guiding
Put-
star.
in a lot of rhythm games. Many, many different rhythm games. Especially games that are focused more on EDM or drum and bass. Annie is a charter that I think first became a little bit more well known in the community after they won a charting competition for a bonus difficulty for a bass game song, which is the competition in general is called Remix, and it's ongoing where they'll pick a song from bass game that hasn't done yet. Anybody who wants to try to make a track make a chart for that track gets to submit, and then the community can vote on anonymized submissions. And Annie won one of the base game ones after only having charted a few other charts, I think. And that's kind of when they became a little bit more well-known in the community.
At this point, I'd like to observe a moment of silence for Akira Complex, who passed away on June 26th of this year. Thank you for everything. May your next life be an easier one.
Are you ready? 3, 2, 1, go!
All right, this is a chart of a From song done by Konami. Frums is pretty popular in the hardcore sub-community, which tends to chart JEDM and breakcore songs in a very high difficulty range. But this particular one is relatively tame, believe it or not. And it was part of Konami's showcase. So they put out the entire groundbreaking 2017 album in ascending order of difficulty over the course of a week, and then gave awards to the people who submitted the highest scores on those charts. Showcases are done occasionally where a charter will put out a set of charts that are connected in some way over a period of time, and then usually at the end of that time there will be like a live streamed finale where the top however many submitters for the scores on the charts so far will play like a series of boss charts that have to be sight read that day. And
I myself have
cool.
done 2 showcases. I've done the Super Giant Game Showcase as well as the War Song Showcase. War Songs being an album of EDM music, EDM remixes of League of Legends songs. By artists like Hyper Potions and Marshmello.
You're gonna have to send me like the link to that, or so I can find that, because that sounds right up my alley.
Hyper Potions also has a couple songs in the base game too.
That's true.
We also need the meaning of that information.
And a few collabs.
Yes.
That is an S.
Nice.
Hold on.
So now we're on to Voyage by Syntheon.
Yes, Voyage, charted by Enyanine, or Enyanine.
Enyanine,
I think the pronunciation has changed a few times. Enyanine is one of the charters with the most charts on SpinShare at, let me check.
My notes say 413.
Right, but that's probably gone up since then because
89 constantly is charting.
yes. Yeah, 413. I'm shocked that that's not a bigger number since we got the notes from Rad.
Yeah.
Yes, this accounts for about 5% of all shared customs, and is the second highest. So the person with the most individual charts on SpinShare is Stride.
With
But if you
513.
count low diffs as separate charts, it's almost definitely Steven of Astora,
Yes.
which we'll get to in a moment.
We'll talk about it.
Aninin also
Let's talk about
spearheaded
it.
the Pride Showcase last year, which included a playlist of hundreds of charts from LGBTQIA+ artists from the past. And they made a dedicated effort to showcase and feature new charts by queer artists during Pride Month.
And they did a number of charts for that showcase as well. Unfortunately, all of them were copyright muted, so
Unfortunately.
we will not be playing them. Instead, we'll be playing this, which was released just before that, a couple months before that.
Mm-hmm. Enya 9. I swear someone told me Enya 9 at some point.
Can I just say I'm a big fan of rhythm games. I've played so many different rhythm games and I love them. And this is one of the few ones that just almost looks too much for me, even as somebody who did like band and was in bands, did music like all through high school and growing up. And it's a wonder to see how consistent and how well you're able to track everything as everything's sliding around and moving, and it is just a wonder to see.
Well, something to keep in mind is that all these are customs, right? So they're all of them are much harder than anything that you would see in a base game.
Yeah,
so
I would. Yeah,
you
I would
work
say
up
that-
to this. You don't just start out doing stuff like
Nope.
this.
Definitely
Don't
not.
get-
It took me quite a while.
Yeah,
to
don't get
used to it.
intimidated. I hope that no one sees this and gets intimidated, like thinking, oh, I'll never be able to play this game because this is too intense for me. Like, it works up. You get, like, acclimated to this kind of difficulty. And the other thing that is kind of unique to Rad in particular is that they play with a very low track speed to help them process the visual information a little bit more gradually. But most players at this level play with a much higher track speed, so you have to react faster, but you only have to process a little bit of information at a time. So,
yeah, I have a sensory processing disorder, which is why a lot of things are true for me that are not true for most players. Like this clear notes on miss is something that most high-level players will never touch. They hate it. But I sometimes need it because I get overwhelmed and I need to take a moment to reset.
Yeah, I needed it for a really long time. I only fairly recently got used to not having it on because I was preparing for the tournament, to be honest.
that is so wild to me, Chroma, that you were playing with clear notes up until you started
Pretty much
practicing for
up
the
until I
tournament,
started practicing for the
that you
tournament.
ended up playing in the elite bracket for
Yeah,
after winning challengers. It's absurd.
Yeah, I still don't know how that happened, but like I was saying at the beginning, there are so many different ways to play this game. There are so many different options that you can mess around with, that I really think that there's something for everybody. And yeah, Dama, like you were saying, the base game charts are not nearly as difficult as this. But I still think they're a lot of fun, and I think if this is something that you're interested in and you're seeing this kind of level of play and this is something that you want to try, diving into yourself. The base game, I think, is a good place to start. And then you can slowly start working in those customs once you get a good understanding of the actual mechanics and how everything fits together.
Another A rank, and that was Trans Rights by In Love with a Ghost. And at this point, it's a good time to just say Trans Rights.
Trans rights.
Trans rights. Cromar, are you keeping track too? I think I'm missing one of the ranks.
Was that a...
That was an A.
That was
But
an
I only
A?
have 8.
I have 9.
Okay.
What are we on? 12. Okay, so we're missing quite...
We're missing a few. We may have to check them
Okay,
out.
I'll figure it out. All
right.
We'll get it figured out.
Most of these, the leaderboards were wiped because of the name changes that I made in order to put them in setlist order.
Yeah.
So
This is
I might
started
be able
by-
to just look at it.
This
Well,
was
you
started
could
by Gabby
probably do
Guy
a
for the
scroller,
Pride
didn't you?
Showcase last year. Violet Pony creates music for the My Little Pony fan base, and has done so for over a decade, but addresses real world themes through the lens of ponies in the My Little Pony world. This one in particular, I Don't Need to Be Fixed, is about the myth of neurodivergence being a thing to be fixed, which it shouldn't be. So it's about loving yourself.
And also love as a neurodivergent person.
Yes.
I was gonna say something, but now I've lost it. Sorry.
It's all good.
Well, while you're thinking of that, do we have any time for a couple announcements?
Yep.
All right, fantastic. Once again, we do want to say that we are raising money here for GATE, Global Action for Trans Equality, and we do still have one of the keys left available here for Spin Rhythm XD. If you like what you're seeing and you want to get into Spin Rhythm XD yourself, a $10 donation through the Tiltify, and then accepting the acknowledgement or accepting the reward when making the donation will get you a key after the event closes. So if you want to get Spin Rhythm XD yourself, you want to get into this, $10 donation and then redeeming the reward on Tiltify will get you that key. There is one left. It is not a raffle style. It is first come, first serve. So make sure that you can get your donations in to get that. If you wish to get your hands on Spin Rhythm XD yourself, you can also put your donations here towards a character bid war and a target we have for some future runs. We have the Cheeky's Chase character bid war between Cheeky the Bird, Ronnie the Cat, Pickles the Frog, and Skips the Rabbit, as well as the Ad Praetorium target for our final run of the marathon, which is the Final Fantasy 14 online run. We have just about 3 hours left for that to be hit, so we want to make sure we can extend this just a little bit further, get some more money here for GATE, and make sure that we are helping out everybody in the trans community, the LGBTQIA plus community who needs that help.
I also wanted to quickly shout out Gavi Guy for writing more tools and things and guides and things for the charting community.
Yes, the Gavi Guide.
the Gavi Guide, yeah. Gavi's been a big help with putting together, with people who want to put together album charts, with people who want to update their charts on SpinShare without wiping the leaderboard, with people who want to chart with unconventional things like invisible, unmissable match notes. Gavi has been super, super valuable. Helping out with stuff like that, making those kinds of things more accessible to people who don't know how to edit the SRTB files directly. And it's just really great to see somebody just being so helpful to everyone who wants to do that kind of thing in the community.
Absolutely.
Which might be a good time for any more messages if you have any.
Yeah, absolutely. We do again want to make sure that you're aware this marathon is being presented here by the team at Fast Paced Events. Founded in January 2022, their mission is to promote mental health and LGBTQ+ awareness through speedrunning and to raise money for mental health and LGBTQ+ charities by beating games at a fast pace. You can find more information about the team by checking out the Twitter account over at twitter.com/fastpaceevents. Again, Fast Pace for Pride is raising money here for GATE, Global Action for Trans Equality. GATE works with international decision-making and funding mechanisms, including the WHO, UNAIDS, and the Global Fund, as well as engaging at the UN Human Rights Council to bring awareness of and engagement with trans, gender diverse, and intersex issues at the global level.
Another A. So now we're on to Arcturus by Rez and Seven Lions.
Started by Steven of Astora.
Yeah, Steven, arguably, you could say that Steven has the most charts on Sprintshare if you count all of his low difficulty charts, because Steven almost always will chart at least hard expert and XD, and often includes easy and normal as well. I tend to do the same, so Steven and I collab a lot because it's very nice to split up the work of having to do all those difficulties. Steven was for a long time just a player and did not want to get into charting. But then once you start, you can't really stop. It's very addictive. And now Steven has over 270 different charts on Spinshare. And that's only counting them as one each, even though often they will have 3 or 5 versions for lower difficulty players.
And yeah, as far as game accessibility goes, remember that I am playing on the hardest of 5 difficulties for every last one of these tracks. Mm-hmm. Base game has 5 or 6 difficulties if you count remixed. Mm-hmm. Yes. And it also, there are charters in the custom community who will chart lots of customs in lower difficulties. Steven and Dama have already been listed. I'd like to also do a special shout out for Luciano and Slival. And also just a little plug for myself. All of us chart at least 3 difficulties for every track. Most of our tracks are multi-diff.
Most of the time. Every now and then I get a little burnt out. And in order to just get back into charting at all, I need to do something a bit easier, which is just charting XD. But if I have the energy for it, I'll almost always include low diffs.
That's a mood. I have a couple completed XD charts that I haven't published. I haven't published anything this year. Where I have over 100 charts and I haven't published anything this year, so that's something. I have a couple completed XD charts, but I haven't completed the low diffs for them, so I haven't published them.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's a mood.
Yeah, Steven got into charting after I had already been charting for a while. And it was me and a couple other people who kind of helped him learn how it all works, and now he probably knows better than any of us, and has also gotten more people into charting than any of us ever did. So
hey.
Big shout outs to Steven for bringing a lot of people into the charting community. I call them my charting grandbabies. This is by Skybreak.
Yep.
Which has, hang on. Did Skybreak get a song in base game yet, or is one upcoming?
Not yet.
But they chart. They write color base. And color base has become very popular because of the inclusion of, artists like Modus and
with a bunch of artists that are in base game. Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of this genre has become very popular because of artists like AU5, Chime.
It's just very, very chartable and results in like not too much repetition and some really distinct patterns. Because it's not just like your sort of typical like boots and cats and like that kind of EDM. You get a lot of really fun and interesting musical patterns to try to represent in the game.
Oh, they actually... Whirlpool is a collaboration between Skybreak and Sharks
Okay, that's
Oh, is
what I
it?
from the
thought.
base game. Yes.
Yeah, I thought so.
Thank
but
you,
I was
Edge.
a little bit confused. Yes, thanks.
Yeah, I hear it. I just thought that was all Sharks.
Well, isn't Water Elemental Chime and Sharks?
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought Whirlpool was just Sharks.
Oh.
A lot of the color-based, like the leaders in the color-based subgenre are all from the Rushdown label. So a lot of them do collaborate with each other a lot.
Mm-hmm.
The Rushdown label is owned by Chime, by the way.
Right, but they are stepping back from that for a bit, aren't they?
They might be.
Yeah, I thought I had seen some news about that. We're coming pretty close to the end. There's only one more song after this, so if you want to get your donations in and get a copy of the game, now's the time.
Well, I do want to go ahead and say that we are out of those keys. We have had all 3 of the keys redeemed here. The last one here looks like it was redeemed by Wind Bliss with a $13.37 donation.
That's such a specific amount.
It's the elite donation.
The
and
elite
Wind Bliss
donation.
Yes, of course.
Pat Dragon says trans rights. The Spin
Trans
Master
rights.
Showcase is amazing. It is not my forte, but it is amazing to see rhythm players in their element. Representing pride at the same time is an extra bonus. Hey fam, how about we hit that 4K target? We can do it.
It's very close.
And we also have a $50 donation from the Spin Rhythm XD. And their message says, Spin!
That's an A. And now our last track, Death Perception.
Ooh.
So, a couple things to say about Death Perception. Death Perception is written by Eternity, aka Aaron Eternal. Death Perception is also charted by Aaron Eternal. Aaron is both an artist and a charter in a lot of rhythm game communities. And I believe Chroma and I are both Aaron's mods.
I am not. I am just I'm just a lowly
Sorry.
VIP. But yeah, I've been hanging out with her and that circle a lot. She mainly does Clone Hero stuff, but Erin is the reason that I got into this game in the first place, is because I saw her playing it on an off stream, on a non-Clone Hero stream, and I was like, oh, this looks so cool, I gotta play it, and then I played it, and now I'm here.
It does have that effect.
I
also got into it watching friends of mine play. Friends that I made through the Sayonara Wild Hearts community, which is also a game that celebrates queerness. And I saw them play Spin Rhythm. I didn't even have my PC at the time because it was still being built. I didn't own a PC, and I immediately, as soon as my PC came, I knew that this was the first game that I was gonna buy and play on it.
I do need to make a real quick correction to myself earlier. The key is still available. I misspoke. Windbliss did not collect that final key, so there is the key available. Again, $10 donation. claiming the key during your donation will get you that final key here for Spin Rhythm XD. And you do not have much time left. You have less than about 5 minutes, I'd say, here by the end of the run before we are done giving away that key. So again, $10, get that in, get yourself a key here for Spin Rhythm XD.
Absolutely.
It's pretty cool for someone to have made music and then also charted it in a rhythm game. It's pretty rare to see, but it's interesting because nobody knows the track better than the artist. So there are probably lots of little details in the music that only the artist would pick up on because they made them, they put them there. So I think it's very interesting to see a chart done by the person who made the music.
Erin primarily does song covers in this style, where she'll make the instrumental from scratch and then do vocoded style vocals herself. A couple of the songs that she's done recently include Rust in Peace by Megadeth, and I know she did Bad Apple, not very recently, but I do think she's done Bad Apple. But she's done all sorts of different covers in this style, and I think this is one of her. I think this is like her first original, if not, it's very close to being original. She'd probably kill me if I'm wrong on that, but yeah, she does these sorts of covers a lot.
And we're approaching time, so
there we go.
And time. And that was B. Okay. I'm gonna really quickly shift to chill music. Are we good for final shoutouts?
Absolutely, go for it.
All right. So I would like to shout out all of the artists who made the songs for this showcase. That would be High Caliber Trio. They didn't make them for the showcase, but they made it within the showcase. That'd be High Caliber Trio, Darnock 703, Pig Programmatic, Dama, Animatic G4, Soda Pants, Edge, Luciano, Konomi, Any9, Animatic, again, Gavi Guy, Stephen of Astora, Elenial, and lastly, Aaron Eternal. And I'd also like to shout out Any9 for the Pride Showcase last year. United's done a lot specifically to highlight members of the queer community, and I'd like her to get a little bit of the recognition that she deserves for that. I'd also like to shout out Dave Rawab, RSJ, Steven Schaff from Superspin Digital for offering these codes, and also this awesome banner that I showcased at the beginning. I only had to pay shipping for it, but it was still shipping from Australia, so it was like $50.
Worth it, though.
And I'd also like to shout out and hand it over to my commentators, Dama and Chromatic.
Yeah, go for it, Chroma.
Yeah, I just want to shout out all of the cool people behind the SpinShare community and the SSSO specifically, because that is how I really jump-started into this community, and it's just been so much fun to watch myself grow as a player and have all these opportunities. It's super, super cool, so I just want to shout them out.
Oh, I want to interject really quickly. I also want to shout out the Way123, who is the new community manager.
Yes.
Congratulations, Way.
Woo!
And the Way does a lot for organizing the tournaments, running things like I think he's kind of shifted some of these responsibilities after becoming the official community manager for Spin Rhythm XD. But for a long time, Way was responsible for the front page spotlight stuff on SpinShare, and the tournament organization, and just in general being a steadfast member of the community for years now. So, yeah.
All right, let's cap it off with a group spin. Volume warning for anybody that's got headphones in.
Yeah.
All right, 3, 2, 1.
Spin!
And for good measure?
For good measure, rhythm
Rhythm
spivum.
All right, stay rad, y'all.
Thank you so much, Rewarded Drawer, Dama, and Chromatic, for that fantastic exhibition and showcase of Spin Rhythm XD. I absolutely adored this game, seeing this, and I know that it's going to be something that's going to be high up on my list to take a look at. We are going to go quickly over to a video here from Gate themselves, explaining a little bit more about the charity and looking a little bit further in it to Gate. So let's go ahead and roll that video.